Hey guys, Adam here with AmericanMuscle.com, and today we're taking a closer look at and of course installing our Injen PowerFlow Cold Air Intake with the polished finish available for the 09 and newer 5.7 Challenger. You should be checking this out for your own Challenger if you're looking to upgrade from your factory airbox to one that is going to help your engine breathe a lot better, increasing horsepower and torque numbers, as well as giving you a better throttle response. This particular option is the more affordable option out of Injen's lineup, giving you a nice SuperNano web reusable, washable, oiled filter right out of the box. This thing is a night and day upgrade when compared to your factory paper element filter. I'll talk to you guys a little bit more about that, comparing it to stock in just a little bit. Know that this does come with an included air inducer, velocity stack, and stabilizer to help streamline that cold air, pulling in as much cold air as possible while filtering out those particles and debris that you don't want getting into the engine bay way better than your factory one ever could. This being that SuperNano web filter from Injen is a huge upgrade. It's a several layer, an 8-layer cotton gauze filter to be exact, with a mesh filter on the outside here to make sure its filtration capabilities are unmatched. As a matter of fact, it has a 99.53% filtration efficiency rate, which is a pretty impressive number if I do say so myself. Now, Injen does let us know that you can expect horsepower and torque numbers, but this does not require a tune. That's a huge thing to note here. Picking this up, it's a direct bolt-on out of the box. You don't have to tune your ECU in order to get this to function properly. With that said, a tune would maximize your gains as it would with any bolt-on power adder, but here we're just gonna bolt it up and show you guys how to install it. We're not gonna be dyno testing it today. Throttle response is definitely something that will increase. This is something you should be feeling at the low end especially, and helping with acceleration off the line. The tubing itself is going to be a big upgrade as well. This is going to be a 2-piece option. This piece being a nice silicone bolt-on mod that's going to help you bolt right to the throttle body and then to the tubing itself from Injen, which by the way is a cast aluminum tubing. This is a very lightweight, very affordable, and honestly very durable tubing. This isn't going to be as in-depth as the more premium option, which would include their PowerFlow tubing and their PowerFlow airbox. This one instead includes a billet aluminum heat shield that's going to come with weather stripping to make sure that it's clamping down and trapping in that cold air up against the inside of your hood. That's not only going to trap in the cold air, but it's going to trap out the heat from the engine bay. The engine, of course, gets extremely hot, so trapping out that engine heat is going to make sure that you're not pulling in hot air. It's exclusively pulling in that cold air, and we'll show you guys how to assemble that in just a little bit. It also comes with the extended breather hose connect, so you don't have to play with any tubing connections or fittings. It all comes pre-welded right on the tubing here, which I think is a huge upgrade. It's not like some of the other options in the category that has a separate hose fitting that you have to play with during the install. That's welded there, and it's the perfect length, so you don't have to worry about any extensions or things not reaching properly. Injen took care of that for you. Their PowerFlow technology built in here is making sure that you have a streamlined airflow from tubing to manifold. There's nothing kinked up, there's no restrictions. Free-flowing airflow is what you can expect with this cold air. And because it is one of the more affordable options in the category, and it's the Injen's more affordable option in their series, you can expect the price tag right around 230 bucks. This, when compared to their more premium PowerFlow box, which comes in right around 350 toward 400 bucks, you're definitely going to be saving a lot, so it's a good budget-friendly mod, and it's extremely easy to install at that. 1 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter here. Definitely anybody can tackle this in the driveway at home with very simple hand tools in about an hour, maybe 2 at the absolute most if you're a little bit more inexperienced. The tools used in this install include an impact gun, ratchet, 8, 10, and 16 millimeter deep sockets, 15 millimeter wrench, and a flathead screwdriver. All right, step number 1 for the uninstall, of course, just pop off your engine cover. Now, of course, we're working with a 5.7. This may be a little bit different for the guys out there with a 6.1, but shouldn't vary too much. Just pop off that engine cover and just set it aside. Next up, we're going to do our sensor right on the side of the tubing that connects to the throttle body. It's really just a pinch and disconnect. From there, you actually want to remove the fitting for the sensor itself, which you're just going to twist and pull straight back on. This is extremely sensitive, so set this aside and just make sure it's out of the way of any danger. Next up here, grab an 8 millimeter socket or a flathead screwdriver, and we're just going to loosen up the clamp holding the intake tubing to the throttle body. From there, you should be able to just twist it up, pull this back. Before we can remove this, we have one more bolt to remove as well as a hose, and then the whole thing will come off in one piece. All right, next step is the bolt holding the factory heat shield to the front support. That's also an 8 millimeter. Just loosen that up and take that out. From here, we're going to disconnect the hose, the breather line on this end. Just gonna wiggle it back and forth and pull it straight back. At this point, we should be able to disconnect this from the throttle body and pull it all up in one piece. This will pull straight up, pull out of the throttle body, can lift up on this end here, and we're just gonna set all this aside. Now this bracket was used to hold on that factory intake at the extension portion, so we're just gonna go ahead and remove it because we're not gonna need it for our aftermarket intake. So I'm gonna take a 16mm socket and just remove this bolt. At this point, you can grab a 15mm wrench to hold the inside bolt. Grab your 16 socket again and just pop off the nut on the outside. This way the bracket's out of the way, but there isn't an open hole there. You just thread the bolt back in there and tighten up that nut. So we've got that factory airbox off of our 5.7 and on the table next to all of the pieces of our power flow intake from Injen. And just to quickly go over a couple of things, I know I talked about a lot already, but you can see a night and day difference between how the factory intake is set up all in one piece and the different components of our Injen option. That flat paper element filter is built into this heat box, which I will say, this airbox here does a really good job blocking out the excess engine heat, but it might not be optimized for pulling in the most cold air. That factory paper element filter is also not going to be as efficient in filtering out all the unwanted particles like this conical filter from Injen will be. This is going to be a huge upgrade. And because it's not going to be trapped up in a box like this, it'll have the opportunity to pull more cold air in, especially from underneath. Now, I will say that we do have to transfer over a couple of things to our new tubing, which, by the way, doesn't flex and kink up like your factory one does. Your factory one has that accordion-like center that can definitely restrict some of that airflow and cause a little bit of air turbulence. Not the case here with the solid aluminum. We do have to transfer over our factory sensor to our new power flow coupler. I really like this setup. Now, I know some people might not like the color difference between the aluminum filter and your black or gloss black coupler here. This is silicone. Some guys might like it to be all one piece. I find it actually a little bit more convenient and honestly a little bit more durable when you have an entire coupler like this or an elbow like this that connects to your throttle body. There's less of a risk of it popping off, which can be the case with some of these aftermarket filters and aftermarket cold air intakes. Sometimes that coupler being a little too small and a little too greased up can actually pop off itself. This, not gonna be the case here. It's all one piece, very durable elbow. I'm excited to see this installed. What we're gonna do is install that sensor to the grommet that's already installed on this elbow. From there, we're gonna start connecting these pieces, as well as installing the weather stripping on our heat shield. Step number one, let's get rid of this thing. First up here, grab your power flow silicone coupler, grab your factory sensor and insert that into the pre-installed grommet. Now, it might take a little bit of play. It's a little bit of a tight squeeze, but put a little pressure on there, twist it around, and you'll be able to get it to pop into place. You just want to make sure that the rubber grommet doesn't fall in. Now, if it does, you're going to want to remove it and try to insert that again. Perfect. Once you have that inserted, you just want to rotate it so that the clip portion and the sensor is facing the throttle body, which we have here. At this point, we can set this aside. Next step would be to assemble your weather stripping onto your heat shield here. Your heat shield's essentially going to sit up just like this. It's going to sit just like this inside of your engine bay, and the weather stripping is going to go straight across the top, down into this dip, and straight up to the top of this bracket. The smaller portion is going to go on this side here. The first thing we're going to do is the top. Now, some guys, you might find it easier to cut, but to get the most out of the weather stripping, you want to keep it all in one piece. I'm going to set this right over top there and dip it straight down, making sure everything stays seated. It's a really tight squeeze, but once you get it, you'll be able to see that this is going to have a really tight air-sealed lock around the inside of your hood and the inside of your intake tubing. Perfect. Now on the side here, we're going to insert the rest of that weather stripping. All right, now we can get ready to assemble this inside the vehicle. Step number one under the hood here is grab that power flow coupler, put it right up against the throttle body, locking that into place. Grab an 8mm socket or a flathead screwdriver and tighten up that clamp on the throttle body. Perfect. Next step is the rest of the tubing here. Now the next step includes that bump stop. Now this bump stop is gonna stop any vibration from the heat shield up against the side here of our wheel well. This is gonna install right into this open pre-drilled hole inside the car. In order to secure that, you're gonna use an M6 nut. That's gonna go inside of the wheel well in our driver's side wheel. You don't actually have to jack the car up, and there's no need to remove anything. You can actually just stick your hand inside of the wheel well while holding this in place here and tighten it down by hand. If you get your hand in the wheel well and just twist the bump stop, you'll actually tighten it up against the nut. So in order to do that, just turn your driver's side wheel all the way to the left, open up that wheel well, stick your hand in there and secure it with the nut. Next stop is the heat shield. We're gonna drop it into place on the inside of the reservoir, and we're gonna line up the pre-drilled hole on the bracket on the heat shield to that bump stop we just installed, and we're gonna secure it on the opposite end with another one of those nuts. I know this might be tough to see, but the stud on the inside of that bump stop we just installed comes through the heat shield. You just bolt it down with another one of those nuts on this side. That way that bolts down. And as you can see, this bracket flexes and lines up with the open hole here that we removed our factory screw from. So now we're gonna bolt this down once our intake tubing's in place. All right, from here, another one of these bump stops comes in and we can screw it into place. Again, it requires a little bit of flex. That screws down to that lock nut. The tubing goes into place on this filter, and the bracket lines up with this stud. So we're gonna pop this into place on the power flow coupler, line up that clamp, line up this. Everything's in place. Grab your 8mm socket and tighten that clamp down. Next up, throw a washer on top there, as well as another one of your M6 nuts, and that'll cap off the rest of that. You can grab a 10mm socket and tighten that down, and then we'll pop on our filter. Next up is your filter. That's gonna go on the end here with one of those clamps. Rotate that upward, grab your 8mm socket and tighten it down. At this point, we have two things left, our sensor harness and our tubing. At this point, we can take our factory crankcase breather hose and slide that on over top of the welded on fitting. That'll hold itself in place nicely. That's tight and secure. The next step is gonna be the harness on the sensor. That clips right in place, and we'll top it off with our engine cover. Pop it on the studs on both sides, snap it down, and you're good to go. Well, that's gonna wrap up my review and install for the Injen PowerFlow Cold Air Intake with the heat shield in the polished finish, available for the 09 and newer 5.7 HEMI equipped Challengers. You can get yours right here at AmericanMuscle.com.